I'm going to then now turn the time over to Dave Bailey, who is our head of marketing for North America, who will talk a little bit more about some of the key activities that happen at Mobile World Congress. Dave.
Well, like Reed said, I'm going to talk about kind of the big issues, the topics that were hot at Mobile World Congress. But before I do, how many people actually have ever been to Mobile World Congress before, if you could raise your hand? So actually pretty good, but we have a little bit of opportunity. So there's some GSMA staff up here in the audience today. If you want to go ahead and be the first one to register for Mobile World Congress 2015, I'm sure they would love to take your money. I would make sure I get a receipt for that though. In terms of Mobile World Congress, just to give you a few quick statistics to kind of put in perspective the size and the scope of the show. Had almost 86,000 attendees this year, which is by far a record for us. It was up 18% from last year, so absolutely massive show in terms of people, but we don't want to focus too much on the quantity of people. We focus on the quality, which is why we're really proud of this next number, the 55%. That's 55% of the people that attended the show are senior management for their company. So it's a lot of people, but it's the right people, the kind of people that can come to the show and make decisions and get deals done. In terms of geographic representation, we have over 200 countries represented, and as you can see, we still have, it's still primarily a European show with 60% of the attendees coming from Europe, but the US is actually the second highest country behind Spain, so the US here is well represented at the show. In terms of the exhibition, we had 1,800 exhibitors at Mobile World this year. Again, another record for us. And as you can see, about 1 in every 5 exhibitors came from the US. So again, we seem to be getting a good representation from here. And then finally, in terms of the press and the media, we had almost 4,000 press attend the event this year. Once again, a record for us. And they represented about 1,700 different media groups from about 84 different countries around the world. So all in all, it is a very big event with the right people, and it is definitely covered by the mobile and the technology industry in terms of media. The first topic that I'm going to talk about in terms that was really hot and really discussed at Mobile World Congress is network evolution. And there was a lot of talk about 4G and just how rapidly 4G has expanded since 2010 when it launched. And by the end of this year, we predict that there will be almost 500 million 4G connections globally, which we are very happy about and we're very excited about it at the GSMA. However, if you look, it's really only 6% of the global population. So we have a long way to go in terms of really getting 4G spread out across the world. You can see from the middle chart here, it's really in the areas that you would totally expect, kind of the developing areas, Latin America, Asia, and especially China, where if 4G is really going to catch on and spread around the world, those areas are going to have to step up and start developing those networks. The big number, kind of the aspirational number we have in terms of 4G, 2.5 billion. So by 2020, we're expecting 2.5 billion 4G connections, which would cover a pretty incredible 64% of the population. So while we were in Barcelona kind of talking about this and honestly giving ourselves some self-congratulations about how good the industry has done in 4G, a lot of people were standing on the side saying, hey, what about 5G? What's next for the industry and the networks? The Next Generation Mobile Network Alliance, which is a group of 21 operators who handle about 60% of the world's mobile connections, they used our event to launch their 5G development initiative. And basically what they did is they laid out some very high level and honestly pretty simple objectives for what the 5G network should be. Faster, more secure, more flexible, et cetera. But the thing that was interesting, and a lot of people were talking about the show, is they also said, with 4G was one technology that kind of brought everyone together under the same technology. They think that 5G will be different. It will not be one technology. It will be a combination of many technologies all put together. I guess the downside is they say 5G will not come out until probably well after 2020. So bottom line, I would not go out and buy that 5G phone just quite yet. Another hot topic at Mobile World Congress was internet for everyone. We were very lucky and had Mark Zuckerberg come and present at Mobile World Congress. It was like having a rock star at the show. People were lining up at 2 o'clock for his 6:30 p.m. keynote. He talked about internet.org, which is his new part of Facebook, and basically what their goal is similar to what Reed was talking about, is connect unconnected people to the internet. They want to connect 2 billion people to the internet. They have kind of an interesting take on how to do that and what the issue is for why people are not connected to the internet. They don't think it's just an economic issue. They think it's an economic issue and an awareness or an appreciation. So what that means is they think that people that have never been on the internet just do not understand the value and the life-changing effect it can have. So they're not willing to pay for it. So what they've done is they've tried a kind of an interesting pilot program. They partnered with Globe, who's out of the Philippines, and Tigo, who's a operator down in Paraguay. And what they did was these operators let Facebook and some news websites and some weather websites run their data across their networks at a 0 rating, which basically means the customer doesn't pay anything. They can get Facebook for free on their phone. And what the idea was is once the customer experiences Facebook, experiences weather on their phone, and gets news and realizes just how valuable the mobile internet is, then they will find a way to pay for it. I guess this pilot was, in some ways, it was very successful. Both Globe and Tigo were able to double the number of mobile subscribers they have in just 3 months, which is really impressive. On the other hand, it was not really a profitable pilot for anyone, especially Facebook. And at the end of the day, a lot of people at Mobile World Congress, kind of the ending was, hey, the idea of connecting people to the internet is absolutely great. We absolutely support that. But at the end of the day, this has got to be more of a business model than a philanthropic project. So again, the GSMA is fully in support, and we actually signed a partnership with internet.org to support this model and refine it and make it more profitable and accomplish what we're trying to do by connecting the unconnected. And then the final topic that was really big at Mobile Congress was wearables. You literally could not go 20 feet without seeing someone check their Fitbit or their Jawbone and see how many steps they had taken in that day. And to be honest, GSMA was a little bit guilty. We had what was called the Fitbit Challenge, which we had 1,400 of our customers or attendees walking around the venue, seeing who could have the most steps in one day. And the actual winner of that had 75,000 steps in a single day, which is more than a marathon. It's pretty amazing. There was all sorts of product announcements, wearables product announcements at Mobile World Congress. Huawei launched a product, Samsung, Sony did, and then I think the most interesting one was Motorola came out and said that they had an announcement that they're going to launch a wearables, but they're just going to do it because the wearables that are in the market are just so darn ugly now. So that was kind of their business case for why they needed to get in the wearables market. But other than just the product announcements, what was the kind of the talk about wearables in Mobile World Congress? Just some of the main challenges that wearables face. How do we get wearables to be more integrated in society and more part of our technology daily lives? Some of the issues, form factor. We've seen the watches, we've seen the bands. That's great. What other areas and what other parts of the body can you put a wearable on? Battery life. People just don't like the idea of having to charge a watch when they've never had to do that before. The aesthetics, again, just try to make these things just not so darn ugly. And then finally, probably the big one is use case. So I mean, a lot of the products that were launched and talked about at Mobile World Congress are just focused on fitness. They're just tracking your steps, tracking your activity, which is great, don't get me wrong. But there's got to be more to wearables than just tracking fitness. We've got to get more areas involved: finance, entertainment, education, that kind of thing. So, not saying if you're a Fitbit fanatic like a lot of my GSMA friends here tonight, that's fine. We're not saying stop using it, but we just want to try to get more and more areas into the wearables category. So. Those are the hot topics at Mobile World Congress. I'm going to turn it over to Dan Norman now, who's going to talk about Vision 2020 and our connected life.